Nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, nice to see you here. That looks like Toronto still winter, right? We had snow the day before yesterday and yesterday as well. Anyway, the spring is coming, so I hope everyone will be working harder and harder to get the more sales, get more achievements during the new year. So anyway, yeah, by the way, that if someone you do not know me yet, my name is David Chen. I'm the office manager, and I'm specialized in the commercial sales, commercial real estate as well. And so in case anything regarding the commercial activities, you can always approach me and I can do whatever I can do to help you out. So anyway, today is the second topic for the agent boot camp. Today's topic is regarding the commercial real estate. So the first topic for commercial will be entrance to commercial real estate. So we are talking about leasing, commercial leasing. And we have been doing this topic for every year from time to time. So today, and this year will be the first time regarding the commercial leasing. So let's see what the basic, knowledge about commercial leasing. So we go through today. I wish we can finish within an hour. I will try to finish this, my slide as soon as possible. Then we can go to online to do some real searching, do some real example for real estate in commercial leasing. Just a second, let's move on. Yeah, commercial real estate. Even yesterday, some agent called me, David, oh, I never been doing commercial real estate. And I have clients looking for a store, for rental, for doing some coffee shop. Even the other one say, do the daycare. So say, how can I start with? So what I can say to him that you need to know commercial real estate. You have to see in many cases, people ask David, oh, do you do commercial? And some agents say, oh, I do not do the residential. But I told all our colleagues from time to time saying, no matter you're doing residential, maybe if you have time, you can come to take a look at commercial real estate. It may help you in future. So you don't need to know everything, but at least you know the basics things, right? So that's say we call real estate. What is commercial real estate? So I will not talk about more in details. So everything regarding leasing and regarding office building, industrial building, hotels, small business, even making land, they're all related to commercial. So let's move on. The important is we in our office group, you see 500 agents in a group there. So regarding residential leasing, every day, every night, we have a lot of issue there. The landlord issue, the tenant issue, well, that the landlord cannot push a tenant for anything in residential. So I always said in a residential agreement, tenant dominates the whole process. Once the tenant got the key, the tenant is the king, right? So, but in commercial real estate, it's totally different. So commercial landlord will be having more power, has more right. Of course, you need to go by the law, right? So let's say in a residential leasing, if a tenant did not pay the rent, late payment or miss one payment, miss two payment, what you can do? The landlord has to go through a landlord-tenant board. If in commercial leasing, that's totally different. The commercial landlord, if you did not pay the rent for 1 week, the landlord can say, hey, David, you missed your payment. Your payment is due. If you don't pay me giving the notice, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, I can lock you out. I can change the lock. I can seize your assets inside. So that's really totally different. So that's the law by commercial law, right? So that's the way as our agent, we always said to them, if your landlord or your investor or you have a client, they're looking for property, maybe investment property, maybe commercial would be more better, much more long-term, and also that the landlord have more ease to look after such property, right? The other different from the residential, of course, the commercial lease, they have long-term, normally going from 1 year to 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years, also 20 years, right? So it's a long-term lease, not like residential. 1 year totally, after 1 year, it will be months to months, right? So that's a totally different. And again, at commercial lease, if your lease expired in 1 day, the landlord can kick you out the next day. In residential, no way. So if I cannot find my property, I can stay there, and whenever I got my my new rental place. So otherwise, you need to go through the long landlord tenant board. It will take you 3 months, 6 months, even 8 months, right? So that's residential. It's totally different. And the other difference will be, you see the rental rate. In commercial rental rates, as I said at the beginning just now, you have 3 years lease, 5 years, or 10 or 20 years. So in that lease agreement, you can spell out the rate. The first year how much, second year how much, third year how much, and in the option to renew. Normally, in commercial lease, we always has option to renew. 3 years option, 5 years option, but in residential, no have any option like that. Otherwise, we go by month-to-month tenant, right? So that's really different. So that's why the rental rate in commercial, you can set out in your lease agreement. So no matter what, every year you can spell it out there. You can even say during an option to renew, then you can put the rental rate there as well. Say not more than 10%, not more than 5%, whatever. You can spell out in the commercial lease agreement, right? And the next difference will be in commercial lease. You make sure that always going zoning by law. Whatever use, you cannot easily to change it. Let's say that the space now is for retail. If you want to change to food related restaurant, coffee shop, you need to apply for that change in the zoning by law to the city. So the city permit department, they can allow you to do so. So those kind of things, that's totally different from residential, right? So then a lot of issues there, I will not discuss about it in more details. And commercial of sales and residential, I will not talk about it today. We're only looking at, we're talking about commercial leasing. So this topic will be doing the net sales. And next topic, I will do how to sell commercial property, how to evaluate commercial property as well. So we do that topic after, maybe next week or the week after, depending on the schedule. I did not see that yet. Okay. So the important is that people asking you, we are an agent, we are doing residential agent. Can we do commercial real estate? Transaction. The answer is, of course, if you are a licensed realtor, you can do residential, you can do commercial, doesn't matter, right? So that's the way, make sure you guys can do the commercial transaction. In commercial transaction, the different from residential, again, will be more specialists, more professional people involved. So it looks like the same thing like lawyer, solicitor, for sure, right? Normally would be inspector, commercial inspector, you should be needed as well. Commercial, mortgage lender, like bankers, you need it. But in addition to that, for residential, you need accountant. So accountant do looking after financial statement. You need also environmental inspector. We normally say phase 1, phase 2, that's a report you need as well, right? So you need also architect. That means planner, designer, you need those as well. And also you need insurance broker. And again, of course, contractors as well. You need a renovation, you need to do the leasehold improvement. Every specialist professional will be involved in commercial transaction. Of course, depending leasing or buying, that's different, right? So you remember that. So later on, if you need more, I mean, you say, oh, David, I need some architect, I need some planner. Where can I find it? Yeah, you can approach me. I can show you, I can give you the list so you can contact them from time to time anyway, right? And the next one we see, as I mentioned, just residential transaction mostly, but in commercial property, what you do more or less, I always tell our colleagues, the same process. Your residential sales or residential leasing, the same process. That means you need to qualify your clients. If you treat the buyer, the tenant as your client, you need to qualify them. If they say, like yesterday, one agent called me, David, the tenant, they want to do the rental of the property. She does not want me to represent him. What I can do? I say you treat him as SRP, self-represented party. That means you are not representing him, but you need to sign the document to make sure that the qualify for the rental. If they show the property to him, the landlord says, hey, David, what kind of tenant is not qualified? They're not my, I mean, I prefer not like people low income, poor credit score, those kinds of things. I don't need it, right? So that's why the same thing like in commercial, you need to qualify them. Qualify them by some step. One, you make sure that the people, your client, or SRP, they are investor or they are end user. Make sure they are ready to move on. I don't want to deal with people like shopping around, right? I mean, some people maybe remember when I did a showing process training last year on the side, I told everyone. So when you qualify the client, the buyer, you need to make sure they are not shopping around. They should be motivated. They're ready to buy. If the people shopping around, why you need to waste your time there, right? So don't do that. So that's the important thing. And of course, the next one, you have to make sure the client, if they no matter doing investment or doing end use, you have to make sure what kind of use they want to do. They want to open a restaurant, they want a retail store, they want to do the coffee shop, you will make sure those kind of use ready. So if they, some people say, oh, David, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just want the space. Those people are not qualified, right? And of course, it had a lot of use in the market. So again, the people are looking for maybe industrial, warehousing. I think last week the people asked me, my client looking for 20,000 square housing, where I can find it. I looked, search MLS, but still I could not find it. But my answer is say, MLS, if you not find it, you can look for other commercial real estate brokerage like Cushman, like CBRE. They have more exclusive listing on the website. So when you find something, talk to them, call the listing agent, say, David, I saw one of the listing. Can you tell me is still available or not? So if they're available, the next question that they ask is the listing agent, are you cooperating? Make sure if they are not cooperating, what's the point? What you're working for? You are working on commission. If they don't pay you, what are you going to do? Unless your client pay you, right? So that's the thing. That's the kind of one of the step like a qualification, right? Of course, some other issue, you have a lot of issue for in commercial. I mean, for leasing, you have to make sure that space, the equipment, that all the, I mean, associated and related to the property for sure. So those kinds of things, you need to know that, all right? Actually, a lot of issue, a lot of things. If you want to do the real estate, I mean commercial real estate property, so make sure the same way like residential. If the people ask you do something for leasing, for sale, you make sure you see where is the location area you want looking for. So that's a step by step. The same way like residential, right? So location, the people. When you do the coffee shop, restaurant, of course, a populated area, right? So if for the retail, of course, you're doing some plaza, even sometimes a shopping mall. But one thing, please remember, if you're going to look for something in shopping mall, like Scarborough Town Center, Fairview Mall, Rockdale, and those kind of shopping mall, it's hard for Asians to get in because they have management office there looking after rental. So as real estate agent, it's not easy to get those kind of things, right? So the step one, you have to make sure if they say, "Hey, David, I want to get them stored in shopping mall," forget about it. So you don't have time, you cannot find anything unless some shopping mall area, they have some small business for sale, like a coffee shop there, food court only for sale. In that way, you can go through buying the business to get into those shopping mall. Please remember that, okay? And when you qualify your client, again, you need to see the budget and see if that your client is ready. Let's say for leasing or for sale, you need to know, hey, David, you want to buy the commercial property or you want to rent the space for a restaurant, what your budget should be. Let's say I can only afford 5,000, but in that way, you have to find something according to their budget. If you look for something, let's say 10,000 per month for rental, how can you, I mean, show the client those kind of listing? You need to only show according to their budget. The same way, like when you buy a business, so I will talk about it next week. That's the topic. When you buy the business, some people even they do not know how to buy. I mean, when you ask them, what is your expectation? They say, oh, David, I just want to have income every year, 100,000, 200,000, no matter what kind of business I want to do, something like that. So in that way, you have to make sure that's the way, the process, you need to qualify them, all right? So in that way, you narrow down the process. So you will, I do not wish you to waste too much of your time, right? So that's the kind of process, right? And again, it's how to locate the property. I will do that online later on, so I will not talk about it too much here in details because again, as I said at the beginning, you have to make sure you know your client, what their needs, what their requirement. So what if they are investor or if they're end user, you want to do something themselves, all right? So I will not talk too much about it. And I already mentioned about it. So where can you locate the right property for your client? So I already mentioned about already MLS. You can a lot of resources, 80%, 90% will be coming from MLS, right? So you different board, the Toronto board, Mississauga. Let's say people are looking for. I remember months ago, the people or one of the agents in London, they asked me, David, can they find something in other board? If you only have access to local board, of course you cannot have access to Toronto board. So if you go, you want to see something in London board, you need some access to them. Some people buy the temporary access, may pay something, of course. And I always suggest if you have some client, GTA or out of GTA, it's better to cooperate or refer to the people, local agent. So the easy way they can find more resources for you, right? So that's the kind of thing. And I will go quickly for some terminology first before we go to the MS, the searching. So number one, the people, when you look at searching something, they will see the people ask me, David, how much is that for this store? How can I calculate the rent? So that's some terminology you have to remember here. Okay, when you remember this, when we do searching, we do the actual calculation after that. Okay, basically you will see In the listing, they will always, on the listing meeting, they call it net rent. Net rent, they have another name called basic rent. So when you do the draft commercial lease, they will see net rent or basic rent. You don't need to say both, right? You can use one terminology, net rent or basic rent only, right? So basic rent, that means that whatever that they charge you according to square footage, right? And normally people will put the $10, $20, or $30, depend on the location, depend on the listing, right? So that's the basic one. So when you do the leasing calculation, the monthly rent, net rent does not mean the total. Total will be plus TMI. What is the TMI? TMI is something they call also additional rent. So different landlords use different terms. They say TMI or additional rent. So TMI will be including what? T, that means real estate tax. They call it tax. And sometimes they call it maintenance or management, because they have built the management office or they have maintenance. If landlord individual, they say, landlord say, that's my maintenance myself. So if it goes through the management office, they call it management fee, right? So easy to know, insurance, right? So insurance, that means building insurance. So in this case, please remember, tell the client, when you drop it off there, the monthly rent, net rent plus TMI, insurance including by only landlord side. But as a tenant, you need to buy insurance afterwards. Okay, no matter what, $2 million, $5 million. I saw some landlords request minimum $5 million insurance coverage. All right. So the next one will be called a T&O. So some agent, they put on the listing because they don't have management office. Sometimes individual, let's say Plaza store, the only landlord individual own the property. So they call it T&O. That means real property tax and operating cost. So they will, the insurance, they say operating costs may be including insurance already. That's a landlord insurance, doesn't matter, right? So in this way, you will easy to read out. The next one will be a lot listing nowadays, especially retail, like in the plaza, like small place or even office, 500 square foot, 600 square foot, those kind of office space or retail store, they don't say net rent here, they say gross rent. Gross rent means the MI, they may cover some utility as well. You have to make sure, double check with the agent, listing agent, what including gross rent, okay? Make sure for that, all right? Important is, look at that. As agent, as said just now already, you are working on commission. So for commercial real estate, the same thing like residential, you make sure what commission you are going to get paid. Again, I mentioned to you, as if you call CBRE, Cushman's agent, they say, David, I want to rent the place or I want to buy the commercial property. What are you cooperating? So if they say yes, what commission rate? Some people pay you 1% for purchase, right? 1%. Some agent going to pay 1.75%, depends, right? But in commercial leasing, make sure you often in the listing at the bottom, cooperating agent, we get 4%. You say 4%, then the next one will be saying 1% or 2%, or some people put 1.75%. What that mean? That means when they say 4%, that will be first year you get your commission, the net rent annual, total rent annual, 4%. So from second year, if it is the lease term 3 years, from second year you get, let's say 2% each year. So 2, 3, you get the, another 4%. That's in total. I remember I did about 10 years, 15 years ago, I got the commercial leasing is 20 years lease. It's a long, in the end, they did not make it because the landlord missed license issue. So my client is going to spend $1 million to renovate the building. The landlord is so happy. Because in that way, the landlord compensated the tenant for renovation allowances. I think it's $8 per square foot. So that's a good deal, but in the end, we did not get it. So something went wrong there. So anyway, the commission, as I say, you make sure this, you get the 4%, like this comment, right? 2% from the year, and every year maybe according to lease term. But option to renew, remember, you won't get the commission. So that, let's say option for another 3 years or 5 years, you will not get your commission. So you will get only the commission as per the lease term. So how soon you get the commission? The commission not go by every year. You payment after closing for the first year. So in this way, you're safe. So the one thing I need to remind you, if you're a leasing agent, in case 5 years lease term, and if the deposit received from the tenant side is not enough coverage your total commission for two agents, be careful. You need to better suggest the landlord, say, hey, we need to ask the landlord and the tenant to pay more deposit. Let's say and last month, we need security deposit, 1 month or 2 months, whatever. So it depends on the listing, you make sure. So in that way, you'll be safe to pay out the commission to the cooperating agent, all right? And the next one we go quickly for the forms. So what forms? If you're a leasing agent, commercial leasing, you will see those forms. Okay. Nowadays they have updated the form already. 525 will be old form. So I think this nowadays will be updated 575, something like that. So anyway, so all the forms will be updated according to Tracer now. So please go to our office website. We got the package is already there. So if you do a listing agent, go by the package there. So you get all the forms signed, upload yourself, and you will see what you're going to do from there. For commercial lease in the listing as a listing agent, you make sure that property under the personal name or corporation. So if a personal name, you need 630, the form already mentioned here already. If a corporation is 631, either way, no matter what, if the corporation, you need both forms. If only individual, you only need 630, all right? So that's for listing agent side. For the cooperative side, that's another form you have to use. You see with 510 be long, we call the long form, 511 short form, and hard form you have to go one by one, okay? Remember that the package is already there, so I will not touch anything here. And one thing I need to remind you, if I mentioned just now in previous slide, that the commercial lease, if they call gross rent. So in that way, I prefer you to use the short form. In this way, because the long form will be list out 5 years lease rate. Year one, let's say $11, year two, 12, year three, 13. So that's use long form. But when you have net rent and TMI breakdown, so you need to use a long form. Other than that, so again, as I say, you don't need it. You better use a short form that is already spelled out the gross rent. Okay, so let's move on. So all the forms, again, too many, I cannot explain one by one. And if you go through the package, in case you have something you need to know, let me help. I can talk to you anyway. So this commercial sales, I will not touch it about today. We talk about in the next section as well. And again, those are the issues. So also that there's the demo, I will not touch about it. So let's see, we are the basic process I already talked about here now. So let's go into the real world. Go into section, go into the listing, and then we find out some listing. Then we see how do you calculate the rent, net rent, TMI, whatever. So we go from there. So before we finish, we give it some time for everyone. If you have any question, we can then we discuss about it and we do that. Okay, so now let's go to MOS. Let me stop the share here and log into the MS form. Just a second. We go to another screen now. So here there's a new one, right? Already. You know how to log into the normal search, right? You need the PIN number always. Okay, you see the screen, by the way. So let me, yeah, did I share the screen here? Let me see. Log in first, okay. Right. What's this? Because English sound MS. Okay, that's good. Okay, he helped me already. Let's see. So everyone can see the screen now. Let's just see from here. Okay, so when you log in, you will see the screen like this, right? So we go to room. When you search in the same thing like residential, the only thing the difference I need to dismiss here. So because that's one I used for residential. So let's go to the commercial now. You have to do searching, right? Going to search. Set to search. We go to see here for sale. You have to see first number one, the location. So let's set the location in Toronto, or let's say York region or whatever. Wherever way will be easy. Let me see. The mouse is not great. Okay, I leave the Toronto area. Second, you need to search for available only. We have to click for lease. For lease, you make sure what for lease, right? That's here because the default is residential. So I need to do condo commercial here, not freehold. So what kind of, again, as at the beginning I said, you need to know what your client's purpose for industrial, for retail, whatever, right? Let's go to this way. Let's try it for industrial first, okay? Let's see that. So the commercial industrial, that's the one for leasing. Let's go from there. So next time we talk about sale of business, we're talking about how to search and sale of business later on, okay? So here we do the industrial, that's for today's example. That's done here. So that's Toronto, you will see. Where is it? From the industrial for leasing. That's area. Yeah, that's for all that's industrial area. That the listening area, we go by one, get something. Let's try anyone. Let's see. Too much, right? Toronto area. Let's narrow down a little bit. In close to our ops area. Let's see. From here, you can narrow down, let's say, whatever square footage. So it will be easy for you, right? Here, the screen. Let's say gross we don't do the income, we say total area. Let's say here, okay? Let's remember that I said that people ask me 10,000 square foot to 25,000. Let's see, do this way, okay? That's called square footage. So just down, if we narrow down, you see, this area, right? Let's open one by one. Let's try something. Look at here. People like this morning, David, this is too much here. I want to see the one screenshot, one screen print out this feature sheet. It will be easier to look at that, even for my client. You from here, you will see print. So when you do the print, you will see, look here, map, listing table, you don't need it. You only need listing details. From here, you have to see listing detail form. What form you need it? Broker full sheet. That's the way, okay? So now you can print out. From here, we can see easy to look at that. I can just show everyone the example here. Look here, the listing. Let's get it larger if you can see. Okay, from here, can you see it? Maybe in computer too small, right? Or okay. Look. Oh, set. Only the big thing. Yeah, I did not do yeah. Okay, from here will be easy for everyone to see, right? Look at this one. That's the same example I can share with you, everyone here. Last week, one agent in a group say, even Tony answered it as well, and I told the agent, look at this one. Wow, $1 per square foot. Wow, that's amazing. I tell the agent, no way. Okay, that's impossible. So the people, the agent put $1 here. That means it's up to you to bid for the property. So that means you need to look after, you check the neighborhood, check the history, do the search, do the homework, how much will be really net rent for this area. Normally, this cannot be $1, maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe 20, right? So make sure that. So here, as I said, just example, right? So here, the price. Remember, in commercial leasing, negotiable, of course, a lot of flexible negotiation. The only negotiation, the net rent you can talk about. In this case, it's $1. So of course you have to check the neighborhood. So how much is really in the market rate? Okay, so maybe $10, maybe 15. So if they ask this one for $20 here, let's say, so you can negotiate based on the market as well. You can put $15, 20, 16, 17. So that's the way you can negotiate according to the market rate. Okay, and then number one, that's called the net rent. The next one you see here, they call it TMI. Remember, that's called additional rent as well. You see, that's $11.50 per square foot per annual. So in this way, so the TMI, you need add the net rent and TMI together, multiplied what? The total square footage. Look here. That's the total square footage, 17,450. So let's say this assumes $1 now. So $1 plus 1150, 1150 will be 1250 times 17,450. That will be annual rent. Then you divide by 12, you get monthly gross rent. So after that, the 12 months and the rent, you need add 13% HST. So in this way, you will get monthly payment to the landlord directly. So that's the way you remember how to calculate it, okay? I already mentioned net rent, that basic rent, TMI, that means additional rent. So total, add those two together, you multiply by the square footage, divide by 12, you will get monthly rent. So according to your client budget, oh, this is 10,000, that's too much. No, it's not impossible. You need to work on something according to your client's need, all right? Remember, again, net rent you can negotiate from $20 to, you can start from 15, 16, 17, or whatever. But for TMI, remember, it's never negotiable. Whatever TMI said, never negotiable. So you have to go by that, remember. That's the number one. Number two, when you talk to negotiate a lease, the strategy is when you find out that the market rate, let's say in this location, maybe 15, you can start from 13. You can when you drop the long form, you can do it this way. Because they're asking for 15, right? I start from 13 or 12. I can tell the listening, hey, David, I can start with 12.50 per square foot for year one. Every year I can add 50 cents or 75 cents, depend on the market, right? Some people add $1 per square foot. That's number one, that's the strategy. Number two, you can say, year one, year two, I don't increase nothing. But from year three, I can add more the rent, yeah. So from 13, maybe I can add 14, 50, whatever, start from number three, right? So that's some way you can communicate with the listening agent, do that, right? So that's the way how do you calculate the rent, remember that? And of course, to your client, then most that square foot is right enough or not. And also, when you look at the listing, the other issue you have to remember what kind of use, right? They call industrial. They have also something, you see, some people say, I need a loading dock. This is the area, you have to look at that. Because for a lot of online, nowadays, from working on the online sell something online, they need this warehousing, so they need the loading dock. They need one or two or three, so it still depends. Also, some other client, I think last week the agent said, David, my client looking for something for sports, for indoor golfing. Indoor golfing, what they need a high ceiling. Let's say even they play badminton, they say, I need high ceiling. So a lot of issues you haven't looked at that. So here the area, clear ceiling, 18 feet, maybe not good enough, 26 feet ceiling. Some people asking 28 ceiling. And I remember one agent said, I need 32 high ceiling. So that's the thing you remember. If something not matching your client, what's the point you are doing? Send your client anything like that. So that's the way, that's a specific area. You need to look at that. Also in this area, sometimes they will say, let's say 17,000 square foot, they will look at here is 100% industrial. That means warehousing, manufacturing, right? Sometimes they put office area 20%, 15%. So if your client looking for something for showroom, they need warehousing in the back, they need showroom in front, so you need to make sure how many space you want it, 20%, 30%. So as long as the percentage already spelled out in the listing, normally it's hard for you to change it. So if you change something, you need to get the city to approve. So of course, as minor change is possible. So this is the way you need to look at that, all right? So that's this area, when you do searching, remember, okay? And the other thing is the lease term, you look at here, the landlord asking 36, 120, what that mean? So that means 36 at minimum is 3 years to go to start. 120, of course, 10 years, and you can do it in 10 years, right? So some people say between 3 to 10. Maybe you can do 5 years, plus 5 years option. So that's the way you can do it. Okay. And the other issue, so I will look at going down there. Let's see the other description. Of course, you have to make sure it's your client wanted to do it. Let's see, also not good. The mouse is not good. Yeah, you see that. Oh yeah. No, I'm moving down. I just want moving down, not going back. It's not my mouse. I want to make sure the commission side here coming up.这书也划不了，奇怪了，你看，有点，我看。Okay, anyway, let's moving down to commission side. 哎，不行，这不是我的那电脑。Oh, sorry for that. Okay. Okay, now it's okay here. So the description, I will not talk about anything here because whatever they say, you make sure pay attention to, and of course that the location that they don't. For us, again, as I said, what important for you, you are going to get the commission. You look at here. So the listening say that 4% plus 1.75%. That means annual net rent, year one, you get 4%. Okay. The number year one will be for let's say for this deal, let's say year one, $15 per square foot. Then you can do the calculation. 15 times 17, something that the square footage. Can anyone working on that? Let me see. Okay. Let's make it same thing. Okay. Let's say $15 per square foot. That's the 1750 times 1750,000 square foot. So the annual rent is for this one will be 262,000. So the times 4%. That's your commission. So year one, in this case, you will get 10,500 about. That's commission for year number one. If you start from 5 years term, so let's say 1.75%, what you can do? Because every year is different, right? $15 plus the number year one, 16 number year two, 13, 18 number 3 or 4. So let's say every year different, you add every year together. So in this case, during the training purpose, I would say $15 again per year. I have 4 years after, right? So 15 times 1750 square foot, I will get times 1.75%. So every year, you will get another $4,500 for commission. So this every year 4,500 times 4 years. If it's 5 years term, you not get 17, 18,000 plus year number one, 10,000. So that's the commission you are going to get. All right. So remember, if you are a listing agent, make sure that the tenant deposit will be good enough to cover the commission, right? So if you are buy agent, you're a tenant cooperating agent, of course, you will get your commission one payment after closing year number one. So you don't need to get the commission every year from the listing agent, no way, because who knows, you must stay in the same brokerage for not 5 years. So sometimes not. Even the listing agent, you're not sure, right? So the landlord will be safe. if you're listening, say, hey, David, how can I pay you 5 years commission? Because the lease term is still 5 years. You have to explain to the landlord, because my job is complete already. So if you are not happy, satisfied with the tenant, you have to put more security deposit from the tenant, so you can secure yourself. Again, as I said at very beginning, so if something wrong with the tenant, the landlord can look after go after for the tenant anytime after 1 week, 2 weeks, depends, right? So if you are not certified with the tenant, tell the landlord, you can ask the tenant to identify as individual. The company signed the lease, the individual of the tenant, he should be also guaranteed as a guarantor, as he had to sign identifier in the bottom. So you can ask for more security. So that's the way to secure the commercial lease, all right? So that's the way for calculation commission and everything. And see, that's one of the listing. As an example, let's go back. So based on this listing, if some your people have anything and need question, you can ask here. So let me move on for a few other listings. Check every listing. You go by one and look at first. You see, there's another one. Let's go back. Okay, that's the same one here. No. If something this one. So look at this one and ask for $1 again. Let's see something they're asking some real one. If something different. Let's see this one. So look at here. They have the net rent will be $8, right? TMI here they ask for TMI kind of, yeah, 746. And also, of course, you see, look at total square footage. The office area 25%, 75%, and also loading down those areas. You may make sure clear height 13.5 feet. So that's too low if it's not good use for your people. And those listing, you may do searching, that's an example. Okay, there are too many here, so I will not go one by one. You see, look at here, $10, and also some TMI so low. Look at here, $3.46 per square foot. So it's totally depend on the location, depend on the use, depend on the market rate. I remember at the always I said to our colleagues, I remember that in downtown area, let's say in TD Tower downtown, Young and Wellesley, no, Young and Dundas area, the downtown area, used to be, let's say, the net rent is only at the time, many years ago, $5, $10 per square foot. TMI at that time, $75 per square foot, $80 per square foot. So that's totally different, right? So that's why you say, when you do the calculating the rent, you need to make sure what's the total gross rent affordable by your client. Otherwise, you don't need to work on those, beyond that, your client affordability. So that's important. Don't waste too much of your time, but you need to work smart. As I said to your agent, whenever you're working hard, that not mean anything. You need to work smart as well. All right. So anyway, so the listing I show here already, I don't need to go one by one. So I just show the basic work. How do you do search? How do you calculate the rent? How do you qualify your client and do the process? So that's about this section, because too much to talk about. I cannot spend another hour to do that, right? And again, for sale of commercial property, we do it later on. One is to sell buying commercial property. The other one will be buy and sell small business as well. So we look forward to those other topics later on. So today, that's what I can share with you. So I believe sometime here, 10 or 20 minutes, and whenever you need it, so we see what question you have. you can open your microphone. We can talk about it as well. Thank you, everyone. Let's start. Question or answer period. Well, we have a lot of people here online. Yeah, let's see. Open your microphone whenever you need it. All right.
Hi, David. I just had two questions.
Hey, yeah.
One is a quick answer. When you say realty tax, is that the same as city tax you pay to like City of Toronto, or is that the same thing, or is it something
Yeah,
else?
that's the same thing. Commercial, they have commercial property tax. The tax bill that designated for residential tax bill or commercial tax bill. Yes, that's a property tax.
Okay, thanks. And the other question I had was somebody, one of my clients is looking for a restaurant, small restaurant, coffee shop area. But when I go to Realm and have a look, I see very, very few on there, or hardly any, or they're usually businesses for sale, not like a thing. Do a lot of people advertise outside MLS, like they're on their own websites or their own things, or? What's the best approach to look at that? Like, is it a drive-by? Is it looking at other commercial agents separately or all that thing?
Yeah, Harry. So you said you have the client want to open up the restaurant, right?
Yeah, small restaurant like a takeout with a few
Yeah.
seats
Take
and
our
things.
business. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they only want to rent the space to set up.
Yeah,
Is that
they don't
right?
want to buy an existing business. But it's very difficult to find it on MLS. But I see like there's separate companies that advertise it on separate. Like, what's the best approach to look at that?
Okay, Arif, if your clients look for something like that, I can tell you it's not easy to find something like that, even no matter what. So because the not too many landlord or too many listing, they will say this space is good for food related, for restaurant, they will not advertising like this. So what I can suggest you to do, look for some according to your client location first, and the site, what site, find the location, find the site, find the budget. Then if you find some listing, you need to talk to the listing agent. Hey, David, my client looking for set up the restaurant, small takeout business. Is it the use it allowed or not? You have to do something like that. So otherwise, you will never find anything. Okay. And number two, other commercial real estate broker like CBRE, as I said, Cushman and Trillion or whatever. So it's hard to have such listening here as well. So in your client, the case, you can only find from MLS here. I mean, 90%, 95% commercial listening will be in MLS website, not anything else there. No, unless
Oh,
some landlord advertise themselves, right? So another suggestion you can share with your client. It's really not easy to find space to open up the business, like for a restaurant for food, right? It's better to see any small business for sale, like the location, as I say, the site for sale. If some people close down, looks like they for sale only assets, something like that. So find something like this, then you share with the client, say, let's buy this one, maybe 10,000, 20,000, then we can set up your room, right? That's a better way to do it, I can suggest, right?
okay. Is it also worth like doing a drive-by around certain areas and seeing like the for lease sign on those areas, or?
Oh yeah, sometimes if you go through the plaza on the like commercial street like Danforth, Queen Street, you will see some signs, yeah, for lease, whatever, right? So you can talk to the leasing agent. Hey, yeah, for leasing, what the use is possible. So retail, they will not get me for retail. So you have to make sure what kind of use they can let you do, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I noticed that like there's a lot of separate companies that just advertise the companies.
Yeah, that's a CBRE, that's a CBRE Cushman, that's doing real commercial. But in your client case, they don't have listening like that, impossible. They,
Okay. Yeah,
they,
I've seen some
yeah,
smaller ones. Like Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's like sort of, but they don't advertise it on MLS. That's one thing.
Yeah, normally they don't. Yeah, if they don't, unless they use as again, as I say, you search from somewhere from like social media, from the community news, or something like that, so you can find something there, right? Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
no problem, Eric. Other people, anything?
Hello, David. Can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can see.
Yeah, thank you very much for your information. Just a simple
No
question.
problem.
I'm working
Yeah.
on offer for my client. He wants a warehouse around 1,000 square feet. We have some of the targeting option already. So my question is the irrevocable date. How long should I give to them?
Good question. You're not like residential. That's why I said a lot of commercial agents like a CBRE, Cushman, I deal with many of them, vice president or whatever, the salesperson. So the most of commercial agents, they don't work on weekend. Even the weekday after 6, they close. It's they turn off the the phone.
Yes.
Some agent but they know me. Sometimes I'm gonna call them, they still answer me. So because we deal with it often. So normally commercial irrevocable, you can say at least 48 hours. Sometimes they say 3 days, 4 days. You can ask the listing agent, say, hey, David, I'm going to bring an offer. You how soon you can approach the landlord? How many days you need it? You can talk to them. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so basically consider 48 hours and above, right? Okay.
Yeah, if the weekend you need to give them more time, right?
More time. I understand. Okay, thank you very much.
No problem. Any other people?
This is Maggie. I have a question.
Maggie,
yeah, sorry, I missed the commission section. Actually, if we sign for 5 years and then in your example, which is 4% for the first year and then thereafter is 1.75, when will I receive the commission?
Okay, the commission, as I said, you will get the commission in one-time payment after closing. So that's the lease start. Let's say this lease start from May 1st, and then after closing May 1st, the tenant got the key, everything already. Then you will get the commission from listing brokerage, one-time payment, 5 years total together, right? You will get it.
Is it common or unusual to have the rent-free period? Should we ask?
Oh, you mean the lease term? You mean lease term?
The lease term. Yeah, the lease free.
Oh, free rent, you mean?
Yeah, because some listing I saw that they offer a 1 month fee, something like that. 1 month free.
Okay, good. That's a good one, Maggie. Yeah, and again, it totally depends on your clients that use that the renovation period. Let's say the client just lease it for warehousing. They only need to set up for two weeks, set up everything, show up, and that's it, right? So that in this case, you can ask for 1 month free rent, right? So if you ask for 2 months free rent, the landlord say, hey, you only set up for 2 weeks time. Why I give you 2 months, 3 months? No way, right? It totally depends what kind of use, number one. Number two, how long your client needed for setup to open up the business in the period. Number three, you have to see how much your client will spend with your leasehold improvement. I'd always do an example just now. Maybe you were not here. So I had one lease 15 years ago. Let's say they are going to spend $1 million for leasehold improvement. They set up. Because they're doing the club, so they spend a lot of money. Even this, you see the tenant spend $1 million for upgrade. What do you mean? The property value is up. So the landlord is happy. It helps them a lot, right? So they give them 8 months free rent period. Number one, because it needs time to set up. They do everything in architect planning. So number one. Number two, because the landlord gives them allowances. That I think at that time, $20 per square foot, the landlord say from the first year, I give you $4 per square foot allowances. So they can do a lot of things. That depends on the tenant use, depend on the money to spend. So that's it, right?
Yeah, because
That's
last
about it.
time I asked for a premises for a badminton club, and then the landlord said, "No, we don't have such thing." It sounds
You see,
I'm
yeah,
stupid. It sounds I'm stupid, but and other premises and other listing they do offer that. So I just want to know, is it common or not common?
yeah, comment again, I say,
It's common.
you have to know your client. You see, if you know your client, it's only set up a week or 2 weeks. You ask for 2 months, it's not reasonable. So that means they look you down. Hey, they say, David, you are not professional. Professional people don't ask questions like this, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we tell our colleagues, you have to prepare yourself. Make sure your question is reasonable. If the same thing like for residential buying the property, just now that one agent sitting with me, I asked her how busy she is. She said, wow, the buyers nowadays, they're looking for low price. If the price, let's say $1 million, they ask for 800,000. So that's too much the gap, right? So that's not reasonable. You tell the listing agent, say, David, I only my client only 800,000. They're looking for the market price, $1 million. How can you do that? No way. So the listing agent say, oh, David, you're really not professional one, right? You need to educate your client, she said. Right?
Yeah, because
something
last
like that.
time there was competition. There are several offers.
Yeah, that's a
The
different.
listing
Yeah.
agent said there are 6 listing offer. I'm so doubt, but it actually really because it ran out fast for that property.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, David.
No problem, Maggie. Anytime soon that you can contact me at any question. Sure. Let's move on. Give another 5 minutes. Okay, let's see. You know, when you prepare an agreement to lease a commercial, you use long form or short form, and the Schedule A already built in there already. So of course, you depend on the cases. You need to modify it according to the actual location, actual use, actual needs from the client. Okay, you can modify them whatever you need to. Of course, if you need some help, you drop it first, see if any question about it, you can ask me so I can help you to review it before you submit for your client to sign, all right? The commercial lease agreement is complicated, so a lot of issue. Again, let's Maggie mention what the free rent, and also sometimes they call exclusive use. That means if in a plaza, sometimes plaza, let's say if the client want to take out business here in the plaza, you find something, you need to make sure I'm the only one can use this spot for deliver, the takeout business restaurant. No other people can do it. That's called exclusive use. So in this way, you can write it down in the Schedule A. Clause already built in there. So if you don't need exclusive use, of course, you need cross out, right?
Oh, David.
Oh, yeah.
I'm David, me again.
Yeah, sure.
In the time that working on the offer, I focused on the zoning. So I know probably the zoning, the use that is best suggested to have the client's lawyer to confirm with the city, but in the case that I contact the city and I have their planning teams email directly and check the zoning, do you think that is a good way to handle or too much responsibility on myself? What's your suggestion?
Yeah, in the office building sample, I put the within 10 days, the client had needed to verify with the city as well, because sometimes the condo management office, they have also the rules, right? So that's why I put that clause there within 10 days. But normally the lawyer will not help your client to verify it, because that otherwise they charge more money. So in most cases, when you put offer in, and the condition already there, so as easy if you represent a tenant, so you probably bring the tenant, your client, to the city permit department. You ask them, this kind of use so far is allowed or not. Sometimes that in person maybe get answer right away. So of course they cannot confirm the something in writing for you. At least you know that's the use already allowed, right? Also, again, depend on existing business, because let's say they're already restaurant, Chinese food, whatever food, right? Of course, this use, you can just double check it. So will be nothing wrong there. And in case the new use, then you need to make sure to verify it. Management allowed it, the city allowed it, otherwise you cannot open up. I remember the one of the Asian in downtown Chinatown, the use is not permitted by the city. There's a lot of issues here. They went back to the city said, oh, we did not give you confirmation you can use, but not in writing. So that's the kind of thing. If you are representing your client, make sure, I mean, your obligation is so hard. Yeah, so don't, and you need to protect yourself, right? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. So if nothing more questions, if you have one, let me know. Otherwise, we call off the day. And later on, for sure, anytime you need help, as again, you can approach me or send me or Scott, office. So we help you out whenever you deal in for leasing, for sale, in commercial, whatever. So we help you out. And also our training video on our website. From time to time, not only today or not like this year, last year, the year before, we YouTube, we have all the training in commercial for sale, police, and also the vacant land, whatever other use. So please, have time, just go to visit, have listen to that. So any question again, come back to us. Okay. Thank you for everyone attending today. Let's call for the day. Thank you. Good day.
Okay.